Now, let us conclude the teaching for today. And let me quickly explain something very important about family and ancestral agreement, because some of you experience all this and I need to touch on it, even if I'm not going to talk for long on it. I need to touch on it so that you can, hear about it and relate it to your life. If it is something that resonates with what you're facing, at least you will know what is really happening to you at the moment. So let us talk about family and ancestral agreements. Not everything started with you. Some started with your bloodline, um, your family, your lineage. They have a spiritual history, okay? And there are things your ancestors did, agreements they entered, promises they made, wars they fought, debts they owed. All these things are under family and ancestral agreements. So, and some of those things did not end with them. It affected your life in one way or the other. And these ancestral agreements, they pass it down sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly. This is why you see that in some family, they suffer the same type of fate. They have delay, or their relationships, they have problems. You could suffer in different ways. It could be that maybe when they married a woman, there are some situation whereby a woman is married into a family and then they begin to maltreat that woman, or they did something very awful to that woman and the woman died a miserable death. And then there's a curse laid on that family, okay, that each generations will suffer what they did to that particular woman that was maltreated when she came into that family. And it could also be a situation whereby the forces that they have in that family that they are supposed to be, acknowledging, doing some type of rituals and feeding for. Maybe they burnt that particular deity, or they stopped doing the things that they are supposed to be doing with each and different deities in that family, and then it will begin to cause stagnancy and problems in the life of the new generations. That is why some people will go for consultation. They will tell them that your past generation did this and that with the deity that is supposed to be there, or there's a deity on your head that you're supposed to arrange and do some certain things with. Or there are some situations whereby they will tell you that you're the one to liberate your family from the problems you're facing. And when they begin to dig deep into the problems you're facing, it could be that they've hurt someone in the past, they stole, your family stole from somebody, or the deities that they are supposed to be acknowledging, they abandoned them, or they burnt them, and then it began to bring stagnation in the family. It began to attract bad luck to the family. There are situations like that. There are different situations like that that can bring delay into your present life. So it could actually be that you're not the problem, or at that time. It could be that all this while you're not actually the problem. It could be that debt that your family is owing, or that debt, or that problem that your generations or your ancestors, from the past created. It could be that that is the issue that you're facing in your present life right now. So that is why it is even very important for you to always check yourself, spiritually. Go to a very good, diviner, do some prayers, inform your forces, let them direct you to a good diviner so that they can help you and guide you, so you can know what problems you're actually facing in your life. You can know how to start arranging your life properly. The reason why I'm saying this is because there are some problems that you're born into that you didn't ask for. So you need to understand yourself and know what you're going through and know how to find solution to yourself. So from the last teaching, I was about to talk about if these contracts can be broken, if such contracts can be broken. I was about to talk about that, and the answer is yes. Contracts can be broken, okay? But for you to break a contract, you should know this. But you breaking a contract is not by shouting, okay? It's not by shouting, it's not by you ignoring those things, it's not by even you casting and binding. because that's why there are some generational curses. You go to church, they'll be like, cast and bind every generational curses following me from my father and my mother's side. This, that, I bind you, I cast you, I bind you. And generational curses or any patterns in your life, you cannot just be casting and binding it. The first thing you need to do is to, know that this thing exists in your life. You should know that this thing exists in your life. Be aware of it. Okay? It is something that you have come to realize that this thing exist in my life. Why does this thing keep happening? In my family, nobody has ever bought a car. Or maybe in my family, nobody has ever built a house. In my family, no woman has ever married and remained in a successful marriage. Or if nobody has ever given birth to a first to a boy, a male child, or a female child in my family. Or why is it that every firstborn in my family always dies? Or there are different things, there are different patterns. Why is it that whenever I'm in a relationship and I'm committed and I'm serious, it always ends bad? Know that there is something happening in your life. You must notice the pattern in your life. You must, you know what keeps repeating. Know that thing that keeps repeating. Know that thing that keeps delaying your way. Be aware of your situation. Then you will now begin to seek understanding to the things that are happening to you. What is happening? What is the lesson? What is the depth? What is something that I need to outgrow? And it's not everything that requires a spiritual work. There are some things you need to outgrow. There are some things you need to see as a lesson. There are some things you need to take a reverse back and notice and be like, okay, I've been doing this thing this way and it hasn't been working for me. How about I try it this way? How about I try it this way? But there are some things you still need to go for a proper consultation to ask questions about. Those things are, those ones are different. Those are the things that that these things are not ordinary, they are not normal. They are deeper than what I can change, what I can really see as, okay, this is something I can outgrow or something I can correct on my own. Then you begin to seek for answers through consultation, and then the spirit will now tell you these are the things you need to do and these are the things you do not need to do. Okay? You can pray. Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you cannot pray about it. There are some things you can pray about, and there are some things that you need to seek guidance for. You need to be able to treat spiritually. These are spiritual matters, are things that, yes, you go to a spiritualist, they will handle it for you. If there are things that they need to break, like debt. There's some debts that you can do irapada. I don't know how to call it. Like you need to be reborn. They need to exchange your life. Negotiate and do some types of rituals for you. Those things are spiritual. There are some things you can pray about, like things you can change yourself, things you can outgrow, things you need direction for and intuition for you to be able to break out of that pattern. So there are different ways you can do these things. You must change your decision. You must, because some patterns are still active in your life. Even when you try to break out of it takes the grace of God for you to stop feeding them. The moment you stop playing your part, like some things begin to break. you know what I mean by that is the moment you stop following that same pattern that you were moving in, things begin to break. That pattern begin to break. That is why I said that you look into your life like, why am I doing this thing this way? I'm trying to be cautious of my time. I don't want the video to be too long. Okay, listen carefully to yourself. You're not a powerless person. When you need to seek for solution, you seek for solution. The things that you need to do on your own, you should be able to do them by praying and looking at your life thoroughly. The things that you need to stop doing, you stop doing them. Okay, let me conclude this part by saying that you must understand the truth first. You must understand the truth. Not everything in your life starts with you. Okay, don't blame yourself for everything. Some things are just a generational thing. Some things existed even before you came to this life. Okay, so, and not everything will end until you face it. So you need to face your fears. You need to face your problems. Okay, before you came into this world, these things already existed.